so. SVP is mixing things up, and digital TV, it'll never be the same.
We're family. We're growing and we live for the love. SVP.
Download the SVP app today on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. Watch us. You know why?
We're growing and we live for the love. SVP TV.
Tune in to Talking Law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill and the special guest host, Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question? Our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
And that's your birthday suit. And so why not take the time to have the conversation with your relatives so you can avoid having the state determine how your property is divided?
Absolutely.
So, Misty, what? It's probably about three things that we can talk about tonight. We can talk about how do you enter into the elderly stage, some things that you can have in place while you are alive, something you can have in place should you become incapacitated
Absolutely.
while you are still alive.
Absolutely.
And then the ultimate one is what happens to your stuff after you're gone.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So let's talk about that, Misty. There's something called a power of attorney. And can you give the audience a definition of what a power of attorney actually is?
So a power of attorney is essentially it's a living will.
Oh,
So
I like that.
it's, who's gonna be able to make decisions for you should you become incapacitated or should you, end up in a vegetative state or something like that. Something happens to you, you have a surgery and you don't recover mentally from that surgery. This person will be able to handle all of your affairs.
Well, Misty, there are 7 of us. Why don't all 7 of us get a chance to have a say-so?
Too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Basically, you just need to have one person.
You'll never get anything done.
You're never gonna get
It's
anything
so
done.
difficult for 2 people to agree.
Absolutely.
And the Bible even talks about that. Well, 2 or 3 are gathered together. I'm in the midst to straighten out the mess. Right?
Clause left out. I'm here to help the mess.
Right, to help the mess so it doesn't get ugly. But in reality, there's no way for 7 people to make a decision.
Right.
And in those critical times, you need decisions to
You
be
need a
made.
decision
You need
maker.
bills have to be paid. What?
Somebody talking
This-
to your doctor for you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Turn the machine on, turn it off. Transplant, yes. Blood transfusion, yes.
Dealing with the bank. you know, you need dealing with the say for instance you still got a mortgage, dealing with the mortgage
Exactly.
company. You need somebody that's going to be able to handle all of your affairs, talking to MLG&W, whatever.
And Mr. Does it mean if I decide that I want JoJo to be in charge, does that mean that I love JoJo more than I do Sally or Jesse or the rest of the children?
Absolutely not. I mean, it might mean that, but I don't think it does.
And it doesn't have to mean that.
doesn't have to mean
It
that,
means
right.
that this is the one person whom I believe has the best head on their shoulders about
Right.
business. They won't be emotional about it, but they're certainly going to do what they know that I would have done.
What I would want done.
Yes, yes. And so that's, parents, that's what you do. You decide the best person out of the children, out of the relatives, whom you have confidence in will do exactly what you would have done had you been able to do it.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with who you love the most or anything. And so, Mister, that's really why we do it in confidence, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a contract.
Yes.
You know, it's just a contract. And really, you know, it can be revoked at any time
That's
while
a
you know,
That's a very good point.
while you're still in your right mind.
That's a very good point.
Because, you know, we especially put in our power of attorneys that if the principal, the person who's given away the power of attorney, giving away, you know, certain rights to do certain things, if they should become incapacitated, then this document is not revoked.
And you know, I like that too, where you said that giving it away. So if I give it away, that means like I also can
Take
bring
it
it back. I like that. And because it's only a document that should be used if you are not able to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
All right?
Absolutely.
And so it does not give you carte blanche to start doing, spending or doing all these other kinds of things.
Right.
You're only supposed to operate where the person is unable to.
Absolutely. And people come in, you know, it's so interesting that we're having this conversation because, you know, in my practice, people come in for a conservatorship, but I always tell them, you're supposed to come to me before the person loses their marbles.
Absolutely.
Not after they lose their, after is too late.
Missy, you said something that kind of, that kind of sound like your dad did.
You can't come to me afterward because afterward is so
It's
much
too
of
late.
an uphill battle.
Well, it's just too late. And
It
I
is
tell
too
people
late.
all the time about that. They call and say, I need to do a power of attorney for my dad. I said, is your dad still a cognizant? Can your dad still tell me the answer to certain questions? No, his memory is gone.
Then it's too late.
Too late.
Now you got to go before the court
That's exactly
and
right.
ask for a conservatorship. And it's a harder burden because a conservatorship, you're asking the state to take away
That's
somebody's
exactly
rights.
right. And it's much more expensive.
Much more expensive.
Because there has to be, a petition has to be filed. The court is going to appoint a guardian ad litem.
Absolutely.
Who will go out and investigate. That person has to be paid. The lawyer who filed the petition has to be paid. And then we don't know what other kind of charges are going to wind up being there. But the judge is not going to make a decision without being fully informed about the person's circumstances. So what that means is that they are to gather bank account information, they are to gather health information, they are to gather information about properties that may or may not be a part of the estate. So the better thing to do is to have the conversation, sit down, and kind of map things out.
Yeah.
And another thing too, Misty, is anyone that does not have this authority is unauthorized
Unauthorized.
to act on behalf.
Absolutely.
So just because it's your mother or your dad does not give you the right to come in and start taking things out of the home, start selling things, and all that kind of stuff.
And people do that.
Yeah. It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal. And you can be brought up on charges for doing
For
it.
theft.
If you don't bring it back
Absolutely.
after being told or ordered to bring it back.
Absolutely.
So we can avoid that. That's
Absolutely.
the power of attorney. Now, there's also, and I don't know, I think they have probably morphed them all now into durables, haven't they?
Durable power of attorney.
Durable power of attorney, which means that it operates even if the individual is incapacitated. What that means is that the person could be put into a medical coma for medical reasons, and also the person could have suffered some type of illness that has taken their ability to make decisions.
Right.
So that document still will survive. Now, the thing about the power of attorney is it dies when the individual passes away.
Absolutely.
It's no longer able to operate.
Living
But there's
will.
also some other things too, Missy, that we can do short of having a power of attorney. You can also have POD accounts. And so what that means is that before the person reaches the point where they're no longer able to make decisions, they can go to the bank and put the individual's name on all their accounts.
That's right.
And so all would be required then is just to have a death certificate, isn't it?
So with the payment on death, yeah, so I advise all my will clients of this. Like, you know, bank accounts are what's called non-probate assets.
Right, exactly.
And so bank accounts can pass, they pass without a will or
That's exactly
with the
right.
will, whatever. They're going to pass however they pass. But if you don't have a payment on death designated on your bank accounts, when you pass away and your family tries to go to the bank's going to be like, nah, you need to open an estate.
That's
And you need to
exactly
bring
right.
us documentation of who's the administrator and who this needs to be paid.
Well, the bank's going to shut down.
And they're going to shut it down.
Because-
They're going to freeze the account.
Because they do not want to be responsible for any funds that are taken out of their account.
All right.
That are not authorized by the court. So
And the payment on death form, it's a simple form. You know, it's just one sheet of paper, most
that's
banks.
exactly right.
And you just need the person's name, their address, their social security number, and, you know, something happens to you, the bank will hunt that person down.
And you might, you think you need a photograph to that person or
No.
their driver's license or something?
You know, some banks require a driver's license, but some of it, you know, it's very simple. It's their
Really?
name, their address, and their social security number.
Okay, okay. So that's another way to avoid the conundrum that's probably going to happen
Will happen.
without.
When 90% of the time.
I've seen it too many
It's
times.
just I just seen it too many times.
So now we know that a person can avoid this problem by doing a power of attorney, which can be a durable power of attorney, which will survive the person being incapacitated. But after all of that is done and the person does pass away, so there needs to be another document that's called
Last will and testament.
right. Now, it is not a last will and testament simply because the paper says, right?
That's right. That's what the law says.
Right. My last will and testament, that's just a document that has absolutely no authority, no life, no anything. It only becomes a will when the probate court judge determines
Determines
that it's
that
a will.
it is a will. That's
So,
right.
so what's that process like? Oh,
So with a will, you know, you say a will is a death contract.
yes.
So the power of attorney is a living will or a life contract. The will is a death contract.
Okay, I like
so
that.
what happens to my stuff when I die?
Right.
So, you know, it can cover real property like a house or a business, or it could cover personal property like a car, you know, stuff like that. But it's basically, what do I want to happen to my stuff when I pass away?
Well, what about the person who says, well, I don't really have enough to do a will? But that's really not true.
I don't think that that's true.
That's not
Everybody
true.
has something.
You got something.
Everybody's
and
got
you know
something.
what? And you know what? And if it's valuable to you, it's going to be valuable to someone else. And you want to direct
Absolutely.
where it goes.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to see it abused.
Absolutely.
Right. So,
Right.
so you know, it's like the, again, scripture said, you put pearls on a pig and you got a problem. So if your stuff is valuable to you, you want it to go to someone who's going to also
Value.
put some value on it too as well. So You can do that. And what I advise to do, which I haven't done a will in a long time, and the reason why I'm not doing it currently is because you have to have two witnesses to a will, and the testator or testatrix all have to be in the same room.
Same room with the notary.
At the same time. And the document will say that I saw Ms. Jones sign it by each person who witnesses the will. And so sometimes my staff is not there because things are so slow, we don't have just a full-time staff.
Right.
How do you guys do it?
So we do that. We have the two witnesses. So I have an associate that works for me now.
Oh, look at you. Wonderful.
It's still hard to believe.
Wonderful,
But
Misty.
she's a godsend.
Wonderful.
I also have, a paralegal intern that comes in on
That's
Wednesdays.
great.
And we have a secretary, and so then, of course, my mom is there. And so whoever's there, I can
That's
kind
great,
of change it
Misty.
around.
Yeah.
And then I'm a notary, and my dad's a notary, and my mom's a notary. So, we kind of
That's
just
great.
switch around.
That's great, Misty. And so, what I used to do, and when things pick up again, maybe I'll do it again. I used to tell my people who are looking to do a will to go on and prepare a list of items that they want to pass on and who they want to have them.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, so this is another conversation that you would have in private.
That's right. I make everybody else leave the room.
That's exactly right.
And I only talk
But
to
what's the purpose?
testator.
What's the purpose of that?
So the law requires that the testator or testatrix is not under undue influence
Okay.
by one of them family members trying to get something.
Well, sister Jane brought her to the office to have a will, and she's going to pay the fee. So I don't know why I got to leave the room.
You got to leave because if the testator or testatrix don't want to do it, I'm going to bring you back in here, and I'm going to give you back your money, and I'm going to tell you, you need to come back when you actually want to do it.
That's a very good point because the rules for you and I are very clear.
Very clear.
That we always have to identify who the client is.
Absolutely.
All right. So it doesn't matter who pays the fee. It doesn't matter where the funds come from. I have a client who is sitting in front of me, and no matter what, my responsibility is to that client. And so for me to get a full understanding about what the client wants, it requires that we be in confidence because there's something called attorney-client privilege
That's right.
that is broken if anyone else is in the room with us.
That's right.
And so that's why it's necessary for me, because I need to probe.
That's
I
right.
need to probe
That's
something.
right.
And it can be an emotional time too.
It's
Misty.
hard because people have to come to terms. People have to come to terms with the fact that they're going to die,
Yes.
and it's
Sobering.
It's a very sobering thought to think that one day I'm not going to be living.
Right.
What's going to happen with all my stuff?
Oh, yes.
Some people kind of put it off. and
Yes.
Don't
yes.
think. They don't want to think about it.
Yes.
But that's just not being proactive.
Right.
You gotta be proactive.
And I've seen mothers and fathers become teary-eyed at that point too, because they really don't want the children to believe that they have a favorite one or that they think more of this person than they do the other one. And so you have to really let them understand that's not what this is
It's
about.
not what this is about. Right.
It's not what this is about. What it is about is making sure that they don't kill each other.
Because if you don't have this will, they will.
Yes.
People think it's so crazy because people think I tell my will clients this all the time. You think that your family's gonna come together and sing kumbaya and they falling all over the place at the funeral
Yeah.
and crying all over, trying to knock the
Trying to
casket
get in the
down,
casket.
trying to get in the casket.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, one of these family members is gonna go try to clear out your bank account.
That's right.
One of them gonna go in the house and take all the pictures.
That's right.
Oh, this my mama house.
That's right.
My mama said I could have this, or my daddy said. I mean, they will literally just start going in the house and start taking stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you think your family's gonna get along when you die, they're not. I'm just gonna tell you, they're gonna actually
You know,
devolve.
listen, some of these things we feel so bad about them and that we
Yeah.
really don't like to discuss
We don't
them.
like to discuss
but
it.
it's real.
It's real.
We've seen it too many times.
Too many
We've seen judges have to send the sheriffs out to pick up things, to go padlock the doors, take an inventory. I mean,
Had to keep stuff in our own safe.
It can
you know?
be
Yeah.
a mess.
A mess. Yeah.
So the best thing is to go on and deal with these situations now, because again, we're saying it again. 7 people are not going to agree
They're not.
on what to do unless there is a roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can always, and what I like about the fact that there's a will in place, we can always go back and say, well, that's what Mama said.
That's what Mama wanted. We can look at Mama's
Right,
intent.
it's right
Mama
here.
reduced it to a writing.
It's right here.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to go against her, you can do it. But she said right here that she wants Sally to have her ring.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not going to dispute
We're
that.
not going to dispute that.
And at
If you
some
want to
point-
dispute it, you can go down to probate
That's
court
right.
and dispute it.
That's right.
But this is what Mama wrote.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say to people before all of this animosity and all of this stuff starts to happen, is to have the family meeting. And one of the things I like, I don't know if you ever seen a movie called Soul Food.
Yeah, I did.
So
yeah.
how every Sunday they would
Every
the family
Sunday,
come in. They start.
mhm.
I always talk about a soul food meeting where and it can be a time where you all can share in memories, and then you talk about, now look, we're not going to be acting a fool. Somebody has to take charge. We are not going to be acting a fool. Mom and Dad have told us what they want to do, and whoever is the executor, executrix will say, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
And
That'll
that's
make it
where
pretty
all that
simple,
stuff
won't it?
goes in the will.
Yeah.
I want this person
That's right.
to administer my estate. I want this person to take care of everything. Like I want them to divvy out everything. I put them in charge. Yeah.
And I just thought about something too. Insurance will not come through the will.
Oh, no, that's non-probate.
Right.
Non-probate asset.
Insurance, whoever the mom, dad, or whomever the person who passed away has as the beneficiary on an insurance policy is going to go to that person. And I thought about I kind of smiled a little bit, Misty, because there is no obligation for them to pay for the funeral.
No.
Or the burial.
No.
Or the memorial. Or anything
The
else.
repast and the chicken at the repast. No.
There's no obligation to do that. The person who does do it, they do it out of the goodness of their heart. But it's not a requirement
It's not a requirement.
that they do it.
It's not a requirement.
Even though the will says that one of the bequeath lines says, I bequeath that all of my funeral and last expenses be paid.
And it just says as soon as possible after I die. It's not about who's gonna pay it
Right,
or
that's right.
how it's gonna get paid.
That's-
Just pay it as soon as you can.
That's exactly
You know.
right. So I mean, and don't be beating up on the person who was left the beneficiary of the insurance policy, because it's theirs to
It's
do
theirs
what
to
they want
do
to
it.
do with it, right?
I mean, people I'm telling you, man, I know people have seen that movie Wall Street.
Oh yeah.
With the
Yeah.
Gordon Gekko.
Yeah, show me.
Greed is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
They've seen. I know some people have seen it.
Yes.
Because it's like they just see dollar signs. Their eyes just become green. Like,
And what you thought was a wholesome family, all of a sudden become what?
oh man, a pack of
Ooh,
ravenous
yeah,
wolves.
ravenous wolves.
I've seen this with professionals
Yeah.
at the funeral
It's-
clowning.
It's pretty bad.
And you're like,
It's-
what is happening?
It's pretty bad, and that can be avoided, and that's what this show is about tonight.
Absolutely.
The show of tonight is I know it's not a pleasant meeting, a pleasant thought, a pleasant event, but it is a must event.
And we just don't talk about this enough in the black community. You know, we just don't talk about how to prepared to get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, you should prepare. You're not gonna make it out of here alive.
Well, and, you know,
None of us are.
but you know, Misty, our people are different.
We are different.
Our people are.
We are. We got different struggles, different issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we believe that if I have this discussion, I'm hastening my death.
Yeah, no. Just being
Just-
prepared.
Yeah.
It's just be prepared.
And you know, and this is just like this season around Halloween. That's kind of what that is, like a mystic thing. It has absolutely nothing to do with your longevity.
No, absolutely
The
not.
scripture is clear that once upon a time, once a man time has been set, and nothing's going to change that. Whether you make this will out or you don't. It's coming.
It's gonna happen.
And so what we're trying to do
gonna happen.
as professionals which is our job. And I love what I do.
It's to protect the client.
That's exactly what it is.
And protect part of the protection of you and your things.
That's right.
Is for you to reduce what you want down to a right.
We've been given this awesome responsibility.
Yeah.
We had to sit through some grueling periods to get this information.
Yeah.
And it's stored in our memory banks. But it wasn't just put there to be stored. It was put there to be shared with you tonight.
Yep.
So immediately following this show, start thinking about it at least. Because, you know, everything begins with a thought.
That's right.
Even the greatest invention, someone decided with the Wright brothers said, they were watching the birds, I think they said.
Yeah, they was watching the birds fly.
Watching the birds fly.
Yeah.
And somebody got the crazy idea. Can you imagine back in that period of time, somebody having an idea that you could actually get into some type of object and fly through the sky?
Wow.
That's amazing. So everything begins with the thought. And tonight, we are trying to put that thought in your mind that prepare for the inevitable so that you don't have your family fall apart once you're gone.
That's right.
Thank you for watching the show tonight. The Misty O'Neill show.
Take care, y'all.
Do you feel feminine during your feminine flow? You know, your monthly cycle, your period? Are you still suffering in silence? The suffering is over. It's time to choose Rain. Rain is an all-natural, premium sanitary napkin with 8 layers of cotton, high-grade polymers, graphene, to help cut bacteria by 99.9%. Ladies, let's protect the most precious jewel in the world, you.